guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is Saturday, February, whatever the hell, it's the week before Valentine's Day. And my hair looks crazy because I'm about to flat iron it. I just got done blow drying it. And I'm about to do my makeup. And so while I'm doing that, I'm going to be talking about my job promiscuity. Basically about how many jobs I've had and why I quit them and how many of them did I quit and what those experiences were like. It's just a random video to talk about myself. Yeah, it's been crazy. I've had a lot of jobs and I've quit a lot of them. For some reasons that are reasonable, for other reasons it's because I just was not ready to work and I had a bad work ethic. So if you're new, which most of you are because I don't have a lot of subscribers right now, please like and subscribe and comment down below if you have certain jobs that you hated, and follow me on Instagram. I am Cinnamon Babe, and then TikTok Cinnamon Babe 94. All right, let's get this started. I'm about to either do my makeup first or my hair. I haven't decided. Probably my makeup because my hair is out of my face. So yeah, I'll get started on that. And I'm gonna be using Juvia's Place foundation. And what's this called? It's by RK by Kiss, this concealer stuff, but it's the right shade, so I'm going to be using it as the entirety of my foundation. And this was the wrong shade, but it's perfect for highlight, so I'm going to use it for my highlight. So get started on that just by painting this on my face. Alright, so my first job was at Popeyes. I was 19 years old and I got the job literally like I think a week before I graduated high school. And I was so happy to have a job because everybody had a job at school except for me. Like everybody had a car, everybody had their license, everybody had a job, and I was the only one who didn't really have it. It seemed like probably I'm sure there was other people that didn't have one. But I felt like I was behind. So I was like, dang, I need to find a job. I don't care where it is. I just need a job. So I ended up getting a job at Popeyes. My grandmother knew the owners, which was wonderful. And they were having open interviews. So I came and they hired me right on the spot. And I was like, wow, that was easy. Well, fast food. The fast food industry is no joke. I absolutely hated working in fast food. It was nothing against Popeyes. You know, I actually liked Popeyes, like, as a restaurant. But working there, it just was not for me. Like, you know, there's a lot of cleaning involved. There's a lot of weekends, working on weekends involved. And my work ethic was not developed yet. I had a very bad work ethic. I did not want to work. I thought I did, but once I started, I did not want to. So, how long was I there? I started there before I started college. I was going to community college right after high school. So I started at that job right before college. And yeah, I decided that, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to be starting school. I'm just going to focus on school. So I quit. Literally quit. Put my 2 weeks in and I quit. I could not take it anymore. It was, you know, it was kind of ghetto. Like, people were just ghetto there and rude, and it just wasn't the environment for me. But it was my first job, and I'm thankful for that. It was not my worst job. I've had way worse jobs than Popeye. So I quit there probably like after like 4 months of working there. And so ended up not going back to school, starting my first semester at college, and started getting like really depressed because I was like, dang, I don't have any money. I have to depend on my parents. I don't have a car. Like, I need to save up for a car. I had graduation money that I got from my graduation party, so I had that. I was saving that up so I could put, you know, some money down on a car or get like a used car. And so I had a business class I was taking, and the teacher was really cool. Like, he was a really nice teacher. Like, he really wanted us to succeed in life. And he was a chairman or something like that, ahead of Goodwill. So I was like, you know what, I need a job. Because he was like helping us with our resumes. I was like, yeah, I need to go back and get a job. Like, this whole going to school and not having a job thing and just depending on your parents when you want to be an adult, that is not working for me. So he was like, oh, I'm the chairman of Goodwill. Like, I can put in a good word for you. So that's what he did. And I went to the interview and I got the job. I was so freaking happy. I was like, this is going to be so much better than working in a hot kitchen, you know, dealing with fast food orders and rude people and not catching on fast enough. Like, because I'm a slow learner. I was like, this is going to be so much better. Woo, was I in for it. So I can't remember how long I was there. Probably about the same amount of time I was at Popeyes. But I was working there, and at first they had me like running the cash register, which was cool. Then they had me as a floater, and you're a person that basically makes sure that the shelves are stocked and organized and, you know, getting rid of stuff that needs to be getting rid of. That was miserable because literally you're not allowed to sit down and you're just wandering the floors like a crazy person in that little store, just rotating around the whole day. And they would always give me stupid hours I didn't like, and yeah. And then, oh my gosh, if you're a person with allergies, horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Like, oh my gosh, there's so much dust, dog hair, and cat smells, and it's just not a clean environment to work at. And what else? It just was dirty and miserable, and it was like during the summertime when I got the job. And when you're immature, you're like looking outside like, man, I could be outside living my life right now, but instead I'm working at a horrible, dark, depressing, funny smelling job with weird people. My coworkers were nice, but again, like I said, my work ethic was not there. So I ended up putting my 2 weeks notice in there and then quit. Now this is where it's fuzzy because this was my second job, so I'm like trying to think, what was my third job after that? I believe I got a job. I got the job at Don Pablo's. That was like a Tex-Mex restaurant. They closed it down now where I live. I don't know if it's open anywhere else. But it's a really nice Tex-Mex restaurant that I like to go and eat at. And they were hiring there. And I knew somebody that was working there. And I wanted to be a host. So I was like, okay. I'm going back to the food industry. We'll see how this goes. Ended up getting hired. And that job was very hostile. People come in very rude and very unhappy, and you can't always seat people when they come in because you have to go based off of the availability of the waiters, and so you're the first people that people see, the first person that people see, and people are very rude and mean, and there a lot of the waiters were rude and mean, and there was kind of like guys being creepy towards me there, but it wasn't that bad. Like I stayed at that job for a little while, probably about like 5 or 6 months, and I got tired of it because, like I said, job promiscuity. Got sick of it. So, next, I was like, okay, I always wanted to work at Victoria's Secret. That seemed like a really beautiful, clean, girly place, and I really admire the company, and I still do, even though there's things I don't like. I admire the company as a whole. So I was like, okay, let me go apply there. They gave me 2 interviews, and I ended up getting the job. I was so freaking happy that day, and there were so many cool perks. I got like a bunch of free bras, free underwear, 2 big old free perfume bottles. Like, it was so much free stuff you get for your like hiring package. Oh my gosh, like that was amazing. I was so happy. I still have a lot of that stuff to this day, and that was years ago. Like I said, I'm 28 now. I was like probably 20 when I started that job. So yeah, by the time I had got my job at Don Pablo's, I was able to get my car. So I had my license, had my car, had a job, and things were looking better. But as far as jobs, I just wasn't feeling it. So when I started at Victoria's Secret, here's my experience. They give you 2 days, if you're lucky, out of the week. This is for part-timers, and they're not usually hiring for full-timers. They give you 2 little days out of the week, and you're working like 4-hour shifts. So I was lucky to make like $100 every 2 weeks. That was like barely anything to like pay for anything. Luckily, I didn't have a car note, and I just had like a phone bill and then like pay for gas and stuff. But that was all I had. I didn't have any money to do anything. So it was almost like I wasn't working. And then whenever they did give me like days, it would always be like the weekends, and it would always be like I was always the closer. They would never give me like, you know, pleasant hours. So I was always like working the boring, like stupid shifts that I didn't want to work, and everybody else got to get what they wanted. Mind you, I was the only black person there, so there's that. Nobody really talked to me there. Everybody was just, you know, talk to each other, and I was always kind of left to myself. Plus, I'm a shy person, so that doesn't help. So, another thing, I just feel like they weren't very understanding towards me. Like, there was one day that I had the worst cramping pains of my life. Like, I was in so much pain, and I had jury duty that day. Jury duty made me come anyway, even though I still, like, was in a lot of pain. They did not care, so I already had to deal with that. And then I called my job and said, hey, I'm throwing up. I'm really sick. I'm in a lot of pain. They're like, oh, well, we don't have anybody to cover your shift, so you still have to come. So they forced me to come. And when I was there, they had me working the register the whole time instead of letting me, like, float around, even though they knew I was sick. And I ended up having to, like, run off the floor and, like, go throw up in the back. And then after I came back, they were like, oh, you know, next time tell somebody that you're running off the floor. You can't do that. Okay, what was I supposed to do? Throw up in front of everybody? Like, that's just so stupid. They treated me really badly. And then that happened a couple times where my cramps, like, would come and they would just be really bad. And they knew I was sick and they didn't care. But yeah, that happened a couple times where they knew I was sick and they didn't care. And they're like, oh, you didn't make a lot of sales today, even though they knew I was sick. And they just weren't very fair to me. And like I said, I wasn't making any money. So I think anybody would have eventually quit. Like, I don't think that was a bad reason. Oh, I'm out of breath because I just had to run my son back downstairs. Oh, I need to breathe. What happened to the damn brush I was using? Oh, here it is. So next, I ended up getting a job at City Trends while I was still working at Victoria's Secret, and it was working well at first. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, you know, I get 2 paychecks, so it's like I get paid every week, and I had never experienced that. And the schedule isn't horrible because, like I said, you know, it's not like Victoria's Secret was giving me a lot of, wasn't giving me a lot of hours anyway, so it didn't even feel like I was working 2 jobs. Well, the manager was a bitch, and she was like, oh, I'm tired of, like, working around your schedule. Like, she literally said that. She said, I'm tired of working around your schedule. Make this your last time telling me your schedule for City Trends. That's what the Victoria's Secret manager said to me. I was like, oh, okay. Put my 2 weeks notice in, and I got up out of there. Like, so basically, you're done working around my schedule, but you'll do it for everybody else. Okay, time for me to go. Y'all are not paying me enough to give you that much respect. Like, please have several seats. So got up out of there and started working at City Trends, and I stayed there for a year. I became an assistant manager. I became really good friends with the manager that's still there to this day, and it was a good time in my life. I ended up getting married, and my husband joined the military, so that's why I ended up leaving. I didn't leave because I didn't like that job. It was a lot of pressure on me because being an assistant manager for the first time. So that was like, I would work double shifts, but I was making the most money I had ever made. You know what, I'm skipping out on some jobs that I actually was doing. There was one job I forgot about. It was at a hotel, the Courtyard. And I was going to be a night auditor. This is probably like one of the worst jobs that I had. Oh my god, and I forgot all about it. This is right before I got the job at Victoria's Secret. Forgot all about that one. Okay, so being a night auditor, you're up all night from, was it 7 p.m.? No, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning. Horrible. That's the worst type of night shift because that's all night long. Like, you literally feel it. Like, you don't feel good at all. It's like, it's almost like your body can't get used to it. Now, like, I guess there are some people that are used to that, but I don't know if I could ever get used to feeling, like, not going to sleep and feeling tired all the time. And my schedule was hectic, and there was no way I could really sleep during the day because I had other things to do. So not only that, it was really hard. Like, oh my gosh, I felt like I had to be like the most tech savvy person to understand that job. Like, everything was broken down into codes, and just the computer was real confusing. Like, it looked like one of those old fashioned 90s like computers with like all the codings instead of just words. It just was so confusing, and I was just like a deer in headlights at that job. And I did not stay long, and I hurried up and got the job at Victoria's Secret. Now, I was making a lot at the courtyard job. I think that was like one of my first full-time jobs, and I was making, you know, decent money for a young person. But I was miserable. And literally, they don't let you sit down when you're a night auditor because they don't feel like that's like good hospitality. So they want you to stand up at the counter literally the whole night. Like, you literally just stand up the entire night. I was like, this is horrible. My legs were hurting so bad. I wanted to like shoot myself. I was like, this is so horrible. I can't do this. Like, you just literally stand there, and it was so cold and just uncomfortable. It was an uncomfortable job. I was like, I hate my life. I literally called them after I got the job at Victoria's Secret and said, hey, I'm not coming back. Have a nice life. Goodbye. And then I started the job at Victoria's Secret, and so on and so forth. So, yep, like I said, working at City Trends. That was a good time in my life. And like I said, then my husband ended up joining the military, and then I had to move to Texas. So moved to Texas, ended up getting a job at a nail salon because I had my cosmetology license. It was my first cosmetology job, period. How am I going to do my eyes? But anyway, first cosmetology job, period. I was kind of scared to like get into hair, so I was like, well, this is a good like balance. Like, I don't have to worry about not knowing how to do stuff and then being told to do it. Easy, steady job. Like, you're just doing pedicures all day. That's it. I would sometimes work double shifts because they were very short-staffed. And I ended up hating it because, like I said, short-staffed, and ended up getting pregnant. So my attitude towards just working in general started to change. And, I was making decent money doing it because you got paid hourly plus commission, so that was nice. But it was like an assembly line in there. It's just constantly boom, boom. Next, 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 pedicure, pedicure, pedicure. And it was at the barracks, which is like a mall. So it was a lot of traffic coming in. It was just too much on me, especially once I got pregnant. There was times I was doing 2 pedicures at a time. But that's not why I quit. I quit because my husband ended up getting sick, and we had to move back to Michigan. So I was there for a year. This is the second job that I stayed a year at. You can hear my son screaming downstairs because he's being bad with his dad. But anyway, what was I saying? Okay, so, yep. So I ended up quitting because I got pregnant and had to move. I literally quit like a week after my son was born. My oldest son. So I moved back to Michigan. This is when the job promiscuity just like got really bad. Oh my gosh, it got so bad. Like, literally, I started quitting jobs for no reason. Like, there was literally no reason behind it. The first job, my aunt, it was a good job too. It was a front desk position at a spa that my aunt owned. Literally, I couldn't even start a day. I was like, you know what? I can't do this. Like, the thought of working, like, literally, after just moving back with a newborn baby, just was, like, freaking me out. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I can't do this right now. And I just hope I hope she's not, like, still upset that I did that. I'm upset at myself for doing that. But that was, like, I just was not in the mental space to work. I was living with my parents at the time. My husband was still, like, finishing off his, like, the army, so he was still in Texas at the time, so I was just overwhelmed. So I didn't end up taking that job, and I just kind of sat back for a minute. And then I ended up getting a job at a bread store. First of all, this job was so stupid because, like, they make you go through this very rigorous physical. And I'm so dumb. I actually did all the stuff. Like, I went to the doctor, like, they weighed me, they freaking made me bend over and cough. They freaking, tested my eyesight, had me lift stuff. I went through all this crazy stuff to make, like, 14 or something like that an hour. Got the job. I'm thinking I'm going to be running the register and just, working in a bread store. They had my ass. Not only did they have me working at this old-fashioned register, they had me freaking working in the back, this really dirty, depressing, dark dungeon of a warehouse stocking bread. That's what they had me doing. I'm like, oh my God. It was so cold and dirty in there, and at the end of the day, my hands were like black. So, like, I was like, I gotta get out of this job. I ended up getting my tax returns, and my husband, this is when my husband was back, and I didn't have to worry about him, like, being away from me when he was back home. So I was like, one day, he drove me to work, and I was sitting in the car, and like I said, I had my tax return. And so my mind was like, well, I don't need a job now. So stupid. I was like, Vincent, I can't go back in there. I just can't do it. I cannot bring myself to go in there. Like, I can't do it. And my husband was very supportive of me, like a little too supportive, like enabling supportive. He was like, well, you want to quit? Like, I'll just go in there and quit for you. I'm like, you know what? Go right ahead. Go in there and do that. You do that, sir. Go ahead and quit. So, like the crazy, stupid person I am, I had my husband go in there and quit. And I felt so bad after I did that. Oh my God, like, because they were nice to me there, but it was just such a terrible job in my opinion. And like I said, I was overwhelmed. Like, I had a young, little tiny baby and lived with my parents, and I don't know, I just was not in the right headspace. Husband went up in there and quit, and I felt so relieved after he did that. Like, I was like, whoo, weight lifted, because it was just a dungeon in there. Like, it was so depressing, and it was just like, it was like, it would be sunny outside and you're locked in this dungeon. And yes, they didn't stay open like real late. They like closed at 6 something, but that felt like an eternity. Like, I just was like, I can't work this job. Get me out of here. So, yep, I left them high and dry. And I do regret doing it that way, because it's like, you don't do that to jobs. Like, you should be a dependable, reliable person. And if you don't like a job, give them your notice. Or really think about it before you, like, decide to take a job. That's what I've been learning. So, what was my next position? My next position, I gotta really think about this because it's been so many. What was my next job? Like, I was going back to school too off and on. I ended up getting my first actual hair position where I was doing hair. And I was renting, my own little chair for $50 a week, which was kind of scary for me because, like, I was new to doing hair and I didn't have a lot of clients. But you still have to come up with that $50 every week. And, that was scary for me. But I wasn't making a lot. That's another thing. And the owner, I have nothing bad to say about the owner. She's a very sweet, talented person, and she has a hell of a lot of clients. So many she can't even keep track of them. She really needed, like, the whole reason she hired me, she needed like an assistant type. But if I'm going to be an assistant, I need to get paid hourly, and like, I shouldn't be paying you to work there if I'm your assistant. I should be, working under you and getting paid hourly or getting paid something, like. So she needed somebody to help her with her clients, and she wanted me to like stay there from 10 in the morning to like 7 at night. That's how long she wanted me to stay there. But like, mind you, she's not paying me to do that. Like, she would like pay me like $5 to wash somebody's hair, like stuff like that. But she was constantly like making me, like, go grab products for her last minute. Like, she would be like, oh, I have a client coming in 5 minutes. Can you please go grab this product? I'm like, okay. I have a client coming in too. Like, mind you, I'm still a working stylist in the salon. It's not like I'm just the assistant sitting and waiting for you to give me orders. Like, I have clients too that come in. So you're affecting my day as well. So she kept doing stuff like that. Like, oh, hurry up. And then she would like rush me. And she was very nice. She wasn't a rude person. But she was just like, yo, hurry up. Are you almost there? Are you almost blah, 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 blah. She was very unorganized. And I know she isn't meaning to be that way. But she wasn't like keeping track of her clientele very well. And so she'd have people waiting for like an hour while she's doing other people's hair. And it was just making the job awkward for me. And then, like the receptionist that worked there, nice girl, but she didn't have really good customer service skills. And she would literally have her feet propped up on the desk. And when people would come in, she would be like, who you here to see? Like that. Or sometimes she wouldn't acknowledge them at all. So it just wasn't an organized place. And then there was times that they like scheduled people with me and didn't tell me. So yeah, they would, you know, be unorganized and unprofessional, and it was crazy. And I, like I said, work ethic still was developing. I was like, you know what, I just need, and you know, not that I was all in the wrong, because I wasn't. But like I said, work ethic wasn't really that developed, and passion for hair was non-existent. So, but I did meet a lot of interesting people. I'm so out of breath, oh my God. But yeah, I met a lot of interesting people that I'm still friends with today. And it just, you know, it was nice for what it was. But I needed something more organized and more with the ball in my court. So did not stay there long. And I felt bad for leaving because she really needed my help. But at the same time, she wasn't really doing what was quote required of my help. But I wish her well. And like I said, she's very talented and very sweet, good person. So I do wish her well. So next, I ended up renting. This was like my goal as a stylist. I ended up renting a suite from this really kind woman from church that I've known since I was a child. She owns her own salon, and she had a really nice, pretty suite. For how much was it? Was it like $50? She said she would charge me $50 a week to $100 a week, which is not cheap. But whatever. I think it was like $75. She was really reasonable. It was a nice suite, really nice. And I, you know, called my own shots and schedules. But this is where she went wrong. I stayed there for a year. This is where she went wrong. She was very bossy in a very sweet way. You know how people can be like bossy in a sweet way. She's very bossy. So like, you know, she had other stylists there that were like renting from her. Nobody was hourly. Because I did not want to work hourly, because then they really can tell you what to do. But, yeah, like, I didn't have like a lot of clients. Because like I said, I'm just starting out. So I was there when I was there. I wouldn't come there to sit and hang out. Like, I would only come there if I had clients. Because like I said, the passion for doing hair just was not there. So, she like expected us to do like chores around the salon. Like, oh, you need to like clean the windows off, clean the bathroom, vacuum, or like restock the pop fridge, stuff like that. And like I said, I didn't have a lot of clients. So I was only there like, you know, probably 2 or 3 times out the week, only for like an hour or two, and then I would leave. But it just seemed like I was the only one, and mind you, I was the youngest one there. It just seemed like I was being ordered around. Like every time I was there for the little bit of time that I was there, she would be like, oh, before you leave, make sure you clean the bathroom. Oh, before you leave, make sure you wipe down this, clean that, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, why, when I haven't even been here dirtying it up? And like, they were pretty messy there. Like, where I'm from, because like, you know, I come from a clean salon. That's where I got my training. Like, I don't like the lady that owns the salon that did the training for me. But one thing about her, she was clean, and she taught us to be clean. So if you wash somebody's hair in the shampoo bowl, you clean it out, scrub it out, and wipe it down dry. You don't leave it nasty and soapy with hair all over it. Well, at these past 2 salons that I've worked at, they were so messy. Like, they did not clean after themselves. And so, like, there was like always hair and gook everywhere, and every time I would bring my client to the chair, it would be nasty. So I just noticed that like I was the only one that was being ordered around to clean and stuff, but nobody else was really doing it. So yes, I just feel like she was just kind of on my case a little too much, and that was getting old. And I was, like I said, not a lot of clients, which that's my fault. I wasn't making a lot of money, and you know, all my money would pretty much go to the rent to even work there. Oh my gosh, one day my silly goofy cousin was like, "Ooh, Danielle, I want to do your hair. You know, I'm not working at a salon right now," or blah blah blah. I can't remember what she said, but she was like, can I come to your salon and do your hair there?" I was like, "Sure, that sounds great." Like, because I never get my hair done by people. I do my own hair. So I was like, "Great. Tell me why," after I gave her permission to come. Because like I said, I'm renting this place. She went and asked the owner if she could come. Like, "Why didn't you just ask me and come? Like, why did you do that?" Because I already knew this lady had something wrong with her. Like, but anyway, she was like, "Oh yeah, you can come and do your cousin's hair, but you'll have to give me money for the water bill." That's what she told her. "You'll have to give me money for the water bill." I should have confronted her on this because this was so effing stupid. But I didn't. I just let it go. But I was like thinking, why does she have to give you money on the water bill if I'm already paying you weekly? Like, aren't I paying to do stuff like this? Because mind you, I do clients. Do I have to pay you for the water bill every time I bring a client in to wash their hair? So what's the difference if my cousin, a licensed cosmetologist, comes in and does my hair? What's the difference? Wouldn't it be the same thing if I was doing her hair? You wouldn't have said that. So why did you say that? I was like, yeah, I got to get out of here. And then there was another thing that this woman did. Like I said, this lady was really nice, but she had something wrong with her. My mom posted on Facebook like, "Oh, come and get your hair done by Danielle." Like she was, you know, advertising for me. Let me stop talking for a second. She was like, "Come get your hair done by Danielle, blah, 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 yeah, yeah." You know, trying to advertise for me and be supportive. And she like put the address and the name, the name of the salon and the number, the phone number, my phone number. Tell me why. This lady was like, "Oh, you guys are trying to take over my dream. This is my salon. Anytime you make a post, you need to put, you know, my phone number and my name on it as well." Okay, my mom doesn't work for you, so there was no need to put that on Facebook. That was very unprofessional, very rude. And who's trying to steal your dream? Like, I work in your salon. Like, I'm advertising to my clients. That makes no sense. So she did stuff like that. Another example of what she did. My friend came in to get her hair done one day. And I guess something was wrong with the door, the front door that she came in. And so as soon as my friend came in, she was like, "Oh, make sure you shut the door this certain way," or blah, 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 yeah, yeah. But it's the way she said it was like really condescending. And my friend has a temper. So, like, my friend was like, "Oh, okay." And then right before my friend left, she like slammed the door really hard. And I could tell that really hurt, like, the owner's feelings. But I was just thinking, like, you gotta stop, like, ordering people around the way you do. Like, you're really nice about it, but at the same time, it's still rude, even though if you say it nice. So, yeah, I just told her, I was like, yeah, it's time for me to move on, and I got to go. So, where did I go after that is the question. I think I ended up getting a job at Route 21. I think that was the next job I got. Or no, was it the casino? Let's just say Route 21 and then casino. I can't remember the exact order because, like I said, job promiscuity. Next, I'm about to do my hair. Well, no. I have to do my eyelashes. I forgot. Eyelashes. Did I do my mascara? Yep, I did my mascara. Or I can do my eyelashes after I do my hair. Yeah, I'll just do my hair because I need to get it done. So if I don't end up wearing lashes, at least my full face makeup is done. But anyway, ended up getting a job at, I can't remember what I said. Was it Route 21 first or the casino? Whatever, let's say Route 21. ended up getting a job at Route 21 as an assistant manager. I was like, this is cool. I got hired immediately as assistant manager. Like, that made me feel good. Like I said, work ethic sucked. Still developing mentally. My son probably was like 2. I only had one son at the time, one child. And, yeah, I just was trying to like figure myself out at this point. Let me plug this in. Mind you, this flat iron is called Revlon. It's a Revlon flat iron, and this is how it looks. You can get it at Target, and it's like, I think $30 or $40. My grandma bought it for me. But anyway, so I felt good. I was like, yay, I got this job as assistant manager. I'm going to make real money. I felt good about myself at this point. But like I said, work ethic, not really there. And it's not really a good idea for a person like me to start a job in the winter or the summertime, because I'm like a summer person. I like to be outdoors, and it doesn't feel good to be stuck working, especially at like places that aren't really happy feeling. So ended up getting the job there, and I did not stay very long. It's kind of embarrassing. I regret this the most because they were so nice to me there. The cash register, they had a very long and strenuous training process, an onboarding process, but they didn't have the system to match it. So it was almost like there was no way I could complete the training because the computer was so outdated. And the booklet that they wanted me to complete was this thick, and they had like a very short deadline. And then the closing and opening process was very confusing. More confusing than other places I had worked. So that was already getting on my nerves. And then it was really cold in there. It was so cold. And there was nowhere to sit, so you always had to stand. There was a lot of standing. And then like a lot of like picking stuff up and wandering around, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was like more miserable than a lot of jobs I had. Like I said, I liked everybody that worked there. Everybody was really nice to me. But mind you, my work ethic wasn't there, and I did not like the environment and what they had me doing. So one day, I just was like, I can't do this job. I was just sitting there with this thick packet, sitting on this really hard bench thing they had me sitting at to finish the packet. Or not even finish, but to like do some of it, even though they wouldn't really give me a chance to finish it. And I was just like, you know what? I got to find a way to get out of here. So I got to grab my purse, nonchalant. And I was like, hey, is it okay if I go get a drink from like, this was at a mall. I was like, can I get a good drink from one of the little shops or whatever that is by, it was like a pretzel shop. And I was like, sure. My family still makes fun of me for this. So I like literally got up and left. Literally got up and freaking left. And I was just like, what was I saying? I filmed myself, but I don't have the footage because I've changed phones so many times. But I was like saying to the camera, I was like, oh, I need to find something, you know, for my journey. Some BS. Like basically talking like I'm going to make my life better. And, you know, I just couldn't do this job anymore. And all this BS. Like, I'm not proud of this. It was so stupid of me to do that. I ended up texting them, and I was just like, I'm sorry, I'm not coming back. That was so cowardly and stupid of me. I should have just been like, you know what? This job isn't for me. I'm so sorry. Goodbye. Should have just said it up front. But I didn't. I was stupid. So, quit that job. They never wrote me back. They just were done with me. Like, oh, okay, she quit. Bye. Have a nice life. Regretted that. I still regret doing that. But like I said, you just know when the time isn't right for you. And sometimes it makes you do stupid things. So next is the casino job. The onboarding process was so much fun. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. They had you thinking you was about to be like going to college or something. Like they made it seem like you are about to be so successful. Like, first of all, the onboarding process is like 3 days. And you try on your uniforms, you get fitted for your uniforms, and it feels like you're moving to like a new city. That's what it feels like because it's so big in there. Is that gray hair? Oh no. Anyway, it feels like you're moving to like a city because it's so big in there, and it's like the way they like have all these departments and stuff. Like it was just like nothing I had ever experienced before. My brother was working there at the time, and I was like, this is gonna be so cool. I haven't even told you what the job position is yet, but I'm gonna tell you in a minute. So they have you do this 3-day onboarding process, and you get to eat for free at their buffet that they had. It was a really delicious buffet. And you get to sit in like this big fancy classroom. It's like real fancy, and they're like telling you all about the casino, and they're like teaching you all these different things, and it was so cool. I felt so lucky to be there. I was like, wow, like they had you in big seminars, and it was like nothing I had ever experienced before. I was like, wow, this is so much fun. How come nobody ever told me how much fun this is? So yeah, like I was going to school at the time too, and you know my son was really young. So what happened? Okay, so here's the, like I said, all this like amazing onboarding stuff had you thinking like, I'm about to be a lawyer, I'm about to be the freaking player in the NBA, like I'm about to be so successful. My job that I chose, and this is, I should have, you know, been suspicious of this in the first place, because they hired me so fast, and I had applied to this casino many times before for many different positions, and they never gave me a time of day, never called me back. Well, I ended up applying to be a waitress. Horrible, bad mistake. Should have never applied to be no waitress. Like, I do not have the brains, nor the patience, nor the guts to work as a waitress, and I admire people that do. So after all this amazing onboarding and all this pumping you up, you start your job. You literally depart from the onboarding and walk right into your job and meet your managers. And that's when I was like, oh shit, what did I get myself into? What was I thinking? Like literally, you know how like a restaurant is like real pretty and stuff? You're like, ooh, it's pretty here. Well, they don't show you what it looks like in the back, what the behind the scenes looks like. It's just a freaking sterilized white kitchen with a bunch of dirty dishes. That's primarily where you're going to be working and hanging out. Not the nice fancy dining area. You're going to be in the back most of your time, you know, grabbing food and doing all this stuff. So I was like, okay, I don't know. I didn't think this one through very well. I'm going to be, you know, on my feet working primarily every weekend. This is going to be a different experience. Okay, we're going to try it since we're already here. They were so mean to me. Oh my God. Okay, this place was a tap house. This had like 4,500 different beers. And I know nothing about beer because I don't drink beer. So you had to learn all the beers. That wasn't going to happen. And not only did you have to learn all the beers, but you had to learn all the codes for the beers, because they had the freaking beers broken down into codes in the system. So when somebody would order something, you would be like looking in the computer with all these different freaking codes in the system. And you'd just be like, I don't know what to punch in. I don't know what to do. That's what it was like. And then not only that, they had, you know, they also had every table numbered on this grid. And so they were like, oh, you have this and that section. Well, it was so hard for me to understand what was my section. I didn't understand, like, the tabling sections and the numbering. And so like, they were like, oh, you have number 5. Where the F is number 5? I'm looking around. Where the hell is it? So there was times like there would be people sitting there and I didn't know they were in my section. So I would have them waiting. And like I said, screwing up with the freaking ordering process because of all the codes, and it just takes a lot of intelligence to be a waitress. And it may look easy to some, but it's very hard, and I admire people that work that job and do it as well as they do it, because like it's not easy. I don't care what nobody says. Like, any waiter can tell you it's easy. I don't give a damn. It was hard for me. I had a very hard time. It was one of the hardest jobs I ever had. It was high pressure, and I ended up getting written up my 3rd week of working there. Like, literally 2 weeks of that was just me, like, shadowing somebody. And then they, like, released me. And, like, I was written up immediately because I had kept somebody waiting. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And it was just really hard. So they ripped me up. Like I said, I was already panicking and ready to cry. Like, this job was scaring me. So I told my mom, I was like, Mom, they wrote me up. Like, I'm pissed off. Like, this is really hard for me. I'm upset. And they were going to have me work the next day on Easter, or real early in the morning. So my mood was just disrupted. I was like, they already done freaking, basically in my mind, y'all had already mentally fired me. Even though they didn't, they just wrote me up. But I felt like it was unfair how they wrote me up. I was just really upset because I was new and I was, trying to understand the job, and it wasn't my fault because they didn't train me right. Like, they really didn't. And I ended up having people agree with me that worked there, that were in like the higher ups, that ended up calling me about that. They were like, hey, we just want to understand what happened. But anyway, I didn't even get to what happened. So they wrote me up and I was like, you know what? I'm not coming. I'm done. So I freaking just didn't show up the next day, and I blocked their number. So if they tried to call me, I didn't have to like deal with the anxiety of them calling me. I'm just not going to show up. I'm done. So they ended up calling me, and they were like, not them, but the HR department called me. And I had explained to him, like, hey, like, why did you quit? Blah, 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 la, 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 la. I was like, because, I just don't feel like I was trained fairly, and it was a very stressful, hostile position, and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, you know what, I agree. I feel like, they didn't give you a chance to get to know the job very well, and then they just hurry up and wrote you up, and I don't think that was fair. He was like, if you ever want to come back, we do have a process where we let people who are fired or quit come back. I was like, oh, wow, that's nice. That's nice to know. I'm not coming back, but that's nice to know. So, yeah, that was that. So next, I ended up getting a very beautiful job as a nail tech at a beautiful spa in this town that was like 30 minutes away from where I lived. So the drive kind of irritated me because I come from a small town, but whatever. Really pretty. Oh my gosh, it was so pretty there. Like, this was a very pretty job. They had a backyard like with a pond, and you would like see like deer and stuff like roaming around, and ducks and chicks, not chicks, but ducklings, and I even seen a coyote back there. It was like wildlife back there, and it just was a beautiful property. Oh my gosh, I loved it. And so I would do pedicures and manicures all day, and I didn't really have to worry about anything else. And they had such a good clientele base that I was making like 3 something a week. Not a lot of money, but for a salon, for a spa, that's more than what I've made at other places. I mean, I made more at the nail salon I worked at Texas, but I've been broke before, so I was happy. It was part-time, I wasn't stressed out, and it was luxurious, and I met a lot of rich people, and it was, like, the coworkers were nice, and the owner was nice. And they ended up having like a really nice Christmas party, and that's when I ended up finding out I was pregnant again. And it was just really nice. So one day my car started to act up, and I just told them like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to come in. And so there was days like they had to like drive me home and stuff, or I would have to find rides. Well, one day I couldn't find a ride at all, and my car just was like really messed up. Well, the owner of this spa was like, if you don't come in, and she didn't say this directly to me, she had the she had the receptionist say to me, oh, if you don't come in, like, you're fired, pretty much. I was like, oh, I'm fired. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to come in? They're like, oh, you can call an Uber. And mind you, the Uber was like $40 to get there, because like I said, it was 30 minutes away. I was like, who? I get paid like $300 every week. Like, that is not a lot of money at all, like, to live on. So, and you guys expect me to catch an Uber there? Like, you guys are smoking something. Have a nice life. You know what? I apologize that, I inconvenienced anybody. That was not my plans. I'm so sorry. So, yep. My manager, and the owner of the spa slash manager, ended up messaging me and not talking to me directly because she was scary. But she was like, oh, I'm so sorry, if in the future, if you would like to come back, we can revisit things. Oh, thank you so much. I told her I admire your business. Yeah, I really do. Like, I do admire, like, that spa. Like, she had a beautiful spa that she owned. Like, that is amazing. But the way they kind of treated me at the end was not nice. So, quit. Um, will I come there as a client? Yes, because it's the nicest spa I had ever seen. So I definitely would be coming there one day to, like, get a pedicure, because I feel like that would be hilarious. But, what was next? So yeah, I feel like I kind of was forced to quit at that position because, like, I needed them to give me, like, a little leeway. I never called in. Like, I would always come in on time and always, like, take care of people. And I just feel like they didn't take that into consideration. And like I said, my work ethic was getting better and better and better from, experiencing what I was experiencing at these jobs. So I was out of there. What is next? Out of there, I was pregnant, like I said, and I was going to school at the time, and I had already lost a pregnancy before then. So I was just happy to be pregnant again. And so I stopped working for a while, and I stopped going to school too, because this pregnancy made me very sick, and I just wasn't able to focus. So I had to, like, essentially drop out of school. Lost my job and was out of school. The pandemic happened. Literally, so no job, no schooling, and just laying on the couch every day. And then I had to, like, get out of my apartment because the rent was getting higher and higher and higher. My husband had lost his job. So we had to move back into my parents' house. And at the time, my parents were not living at the house. And so we're still here, by the way. And they were only going to charge us like $500 a month. And that's what we're paying now. So I'm still here to this day. But, yeah, it's a good setup until we find, something better. Because we plan on moving to Florida. But anyway, yeah, so I wasn't working through the entire pandemic. Literally, like I said, pregnant. And it just was hard for me to work and focus on anything except being pregnant because I was sick. So after I had the baby, where did I go after I had the baby? I found a nice salon downtown to work at as a nail tech. That was my comfort zone. I was like, I don't really like doing hair. I feel like it just is a lot harder. Takes a lot more of your time, and people are just more picky. So I got a nice job at this really pretty salon downtown. The owner is very sweet, very nice person. But I feel like it was the same experience I experienced at the previous salon I was at, where the lady was like nice but bossy. Same thing, nice but bossy, and she would tell me, oh, I'm your boss, blah, 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 I'm your boss. And so instead of rent, I didn't pay rent, but she got a percentage of, like... So anyway, it was like a lot like the experience where, she was bossy, and it, like, started to feel like I was an employee instead of a contractor. And I don't like feeling like an employee if I'm not one. So that was getting on my nerves. But mind you, I was, sticking by it and working and meeting new people. And I was making the same amount of money I was making at the spa. Like, it was like $200 to $300 every week. Not bad for working at a salon because, it could be a lot worse. I've seen people cash like $5 checks because they didn't have any clients. So, yeah. Anyway. There was one day I was like, hey, I'm planning a trip to Disney with my family in July, and I told her like the dates and stuff, and she was like, ha ha ha, you girls are getting brave. You're telling me instead of asking me. I'm your boss. I don't even know what to say. I'm just so tired of people talking to me any type of way. Like, what the hell? She was like, I'm your boss. You're my boss. No, not really. I mean, kind of, but not really. And I'm a contractor. Like, I basically choose what I do. She is another one that expected me to just stay at the salon all day and wait for people to come in. No, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not going to, like, wait for walk-ins. I'm going to work, a certain amount of hours, and then I'm gone. Like, that's not how it's gonna go. Like, I have kids. Like, I have a baby that I still breastfeed. Like, what the hell? Like, I'm not doing that. So she was like that. Like, she would be nice, but then, if she felt a certain way, she was not afraid to tell you. And so that got on my nerves. And what else? What else did she do that was annoying? She just was kind of on my case a lot. In a nice way. And I don't like feeling like I'm a child. So that got on my nerves. Like I said, it's not like I'm making a whole bunch of money, but y'all want to boss me around like this. And I'm not an hourly person. I'm not hourly. You do not pay me hourly. I get paid by the client. And then you get a piece of it because I'm working in your salon. So you would think that'd be enough, but no, they still want you to do chores, and they still want power over your life and what you decide to do with your life. So, okay, fine. So I ended up looking on Indeed, and I found a job at Sephora, another dream job, kind of like Victoria's Secret, where I was like, ooh, I always wanted to work there, cool, because I love makeup, blah, 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 blah. I ended up getting hired, and I was like, hey guys, bye guys, love y'all. She was really sad too, and I ended up crying because I felt bad that I was leaving her like that. And she was like, well, I was like, if you need help training like another nail tech, I'm not afraid to come in. Like, I'll help you out. My mom is here, so I'm gonna finish this story in the car. Okay, I'm back, guys. A day later. It's Sunday, and I just got back from Super Bowl Sunday, which was a good time. I had ribs and really like good food at my grandma's fiance's house. Oh my gosh, I would have filmed in the car and finished this video in the car yesterday when I was going to Grand Rapids, like to go to the mall and stuff with my family, but it was just an obnoxious drive. And then when I got to the mall, it was so like crowded, a bunch of people, and the freaking kiosk that you can rent like strollers out to was out of order. So I was really pissed off about that. And then I literally scoured the entire mall, which is a really big mall, looking for a stroller to buy, and not one store sold it. So it was a very inconveniencing situation. My two crazy kids that are under the age of 6. So it was a crazy situation, so I didn't vlog at all because I was so stressed out, hungry, and exhausted. So I didn't vlog any of that. My apologies. And so I'm back from Super Bowl Sunday. My kids are in bed. My husband is still out, watching the game at my grandma's fiance's house. And so I'm just home alone, and I'm going to finish the vlog. If you hear snoring, it's my dog. He's doing his own thing. Yeah, he was just making a bunch of like gross licking noises at first, and it's irritating me. But okay, so where was I? I was talking about the salon job and how I had to like leave pretty much because I just felt like it just wasn't the place for me. And I just felt like I was done doing nails, done doing hair, just not a lot of money in it. I didn't see a future in it. And even before I took the job, I was feeling that way. But I ended up taking that job because I felt like it was a favor towards the lady that owned the salon. She like really needed someone, and she made it seem like it was going to be super fun and super easy, which sometimes it was, but other times I just did not want to be there. So I put my notice in. It was really sad. I felt really bad, and I started working at Sephora. Here's the situation with Sephora. Sorry, my throat is so dry. Here's the situation with Sephora. On their ad, it said pays up to $17 an hour, full time, and it didn't say anything about it being seasonal. I started this job when did I start this job? It was before the Christmas season, so it was like this job was seasonal, but they never put it on the application or anything like that, and they didn't tell me in the interview. So I started the job not knowing that it was a seasonal position. But they were hiring people for the Christmas season, and they had just put this Sephora into this Kohl's. It was a Kohl's Sephora. So I started, and the training was horrible. Like, they literally sit you in a office space room, and you sit and just watch like videos, like product videos about like all the products they sell, and it's like miles and miles of notes and just watching 1,000 videos. And at first I liked it because I was like, ooh, I don't have to do nothing. I can just sit here and chill and watch videos and take notes, which I'm really good at doing. So I did that, and I feel like the training was a lot longer than what I lasted at the job, which it probably was. So literally it was pretty much a boring job. Like, once I started on the floor, you literally like kind of pace the floors and wait to help people. The worst part of the job was organizing like the incoming inventory that we like were bringing in, and like putting them away in the drawers, and the way they had like the stuff numbered, it was like really freaking annoying. So that was a part of the job. And then what else? Running the cash register. It wasn't a hard job. Simple. Oh yeah, and like I said, they said they pay up to 17 an hour. I only made like $14 an hour, and then that, like I said, it was not full time, it was part time, and it was seasonal. So they lied on a lot of different aspects of that job. And then my seasonal position was up, and I ended up not even like completing it. I like just said, oh, I have COVID, and didn't come in like for the rest of the like 2 days that they had me on, because I was so irritated, because it's like, you guys just kind of lied to me and didn't. Okay, can't even remember where I was at, because like I got cut off like literally while I was trying to like finish talking. But anyway, so yeah, so yeah, working at Sephora was like a lot of lies. Like, they just lied about a lot of stuff, and I just didn't even like respect my final days there, because I was like, you guys didn't respect me, so who cares? Then after that, I was out of work for a little while, and that's when I ended up starting to clean at this night shift cleaning place. It was an airport. It was a private airport for like corporate, like rich people type place, and it was really like pretty in there. And night shift, like I said, so it was like from 6 p.m. to like 2:30 a.m., like that type of timing. So it wasn't like horrible like night shift. And you were working with like a cleaning team, and that's when I ended up meeting like this psycho friend that was a narcissist. And if you would like to know the story about that, you can watch my narcissist versus empath story time. But yeah, I ended up meeting her there, and that's how I ended up getting the dog. And oh my god, like, so much happened at that job. It was ridiculous. Like, I just came there to just clean and just be left alone and work in peace. And instead, like, I met crazy people that were obsessed and just stupid acting. And like, there's people there that I feel like were sabotaging my work and like trying to like get me in trouble. And my brother ended up starting to work there, and he ended up finding a way better position and leaving after I was fired. I was fired because I was convinced pretty much by my manager, who was my friend at the time, to write a letter saying, well, write an email saying, hey, I believe that this and that person tried to sabotage my work, and I believe that they're not being forthcoming. So that's some of the things I said in the email. But I was told that the reason why I was fired because my belly button was showing through my shirt, and I was wearing ripped jeans. But I know that's not why I was fired, and that wasn't even true. Like, I was wearing ripped jeans, but I had leggings underneath it, and I had the company shirt on, and it was tied, but like the jeans were like pulled all the way up, so you couldn't see my stomach, so they were lying. But whatever. After I got fired from there, oh my god, times got so hard. Like, it was so hard for me to find a job, and I was still friends with a psycho person that I met there. She kept saying, oh, I really want us to work together. So she was like coming up with all types of crazy jobs. Like, for example, she tried to get me to work as a flagger for a construction company, where you basically like direct traffic, and you do it 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you may get some days off, like if it rains or something, but you have to be available 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts. She tried to convince me into taking that job, and it was like 45 minutes away, or sometimes even further from where I lived. And this was like during the summer season, and I just was like, there's no way in hell I could do this job. I like considered it because they paid really good money. They pay like 27 and up, but I was like, there's no way in hell. Like, I'm not about to like be away from my kids that long. This cycle, she would do something like that. Like, she would literally like be away from her kids like for weeks on end, and she would even like make sure that they were in school. And I'm not even gonna get into further about that, but yeah, she's crazy. But me, I love my kids too much. Like, I'm not going to take a job that's going to take me away from them that much. Because I love my kids more than myself. Like, more than money. And I'll always find a way where I can still be a functioning mom and work. Like, I'm not about to choose work and money over them. So, yeah, she just kept on saying, oh, I really want us to work together. I want us to work together. So she would like just keep coming up with crazy jobs. Like this one job wasn't crazy. It was working at Olive Garden as a waitress, but it was 45 minutes away from where I lived, and that may not seem like a lot for some people because you live like in a bigger city, and that's like commuting is like a normal thing. But where I'm from, commuting is like very optional. You don't have to do it. Like, you can definitely like choose more local places that are 10 minutes away. It just depends on where you live. Like, I live in Michigan, and there's a lot of small towns in Michigan, so you don't have to commute if you don't want to. So I was like, no, that ain't gonna work. She just kept trying to control like the job situation for me, and I was just getting broker and broker and broker. Like, I didn't have any money, and it was just, things were like just getting really hard for me and my family. So I ended up taking this janitorial job for cleaning. It was cleaning a high school. And I was like, okay, this seems like this is going to be a good choice. They told me this is another job that freaking lied. They said that this position was going to be night shift, and what else? Like, you're just like basic cleaning duties. That's what the application said on Indeed. So I'm like, okay, that's what I was doing anyway. So I took that job. And at orientation, that's when all the lies came forth, like all the truth. They were like, oh, no night shift. Okay, so you lied about that. Then they were like, you're going to be going to different locations. Okay, that wasn't in the application or the interview. Okay. Then they were like, oh, you're going to be checking for asbestos, and you're going to be buffing floors, and you're going to be doing heavy duty, like crazy stuff. I'm like, checking for asbestos and buffing floors and stripping and waxing floors. Like, I'm not here to be a maintenance man or like an asbestos checker or whatever the hell you want to call it. Like, I'm not here to do all that. I'm here to scrub toilets and mop floors. I mean, like, what the heck? Mind you, the last cleaning job that I had was not like that. Like, it was just, your typical cleaning, light cleaning, office cleaning. That's what I was looking for. So, day 2 of orientation, I literally, like, they gave me a shirt and, like, a stack of papers and, like, safety goggles and stuff. And they give you, like, a break. Literally, I texted my husband and I was like, Vincent, come get me. I'm not doing this. So he was with the kids at the time, and he was like, okay. He took so long to come get me. So literally after break was over, I'm the only one still outside. And it's funny because one of the guys was like, oh, are you leaving? I'm like, no, I'm not leaving. I'll be right back. Just, out here. Literally waiting for my husband. He took so freaking long to come get me. Oh my gosh. And so I left. He finally came and got me, and I just told my husband everything that was going on. My husband's very like understanding, and he's used to me like quitting jobs, as he should be, because I've done it so many times. And he even quit, like I said, he even quit for me for one of the examples. I'm sorry, I have a cold. But anyway, so they ended up, like, the manager ended up like trying to get in contact with me and like texting me and stuff, and she's like, oh, you have to turn in this paper, like, for, I can't remember what it was for, like legal reasons or whatever. I'm like, okay. She's like, you can just text it to me. Because at first I was like, dang, do I have to like come back there? That sucks after like leaving like that. I really didn't want to. I ended up having to text it to her, and she was like, before I texted to her, she was like trying to convince me to come back. And I was like, well, for one, there's no night shift. That's not why I took this position. I took this position for a night shift position, and the next thing I know, I'm being told that I'm going to be going to different locations and that it's all during the day. That's not convenient for me at this current like place in my life. Like, so I feel like I wasn't being told the truth. And then I said all this heavy duty stuff, like I didn't come there for that. I came there to just like clean bathrooms, vacuum, mop, stuff like that, dust. Oh yeah, and then you had to move like a lot of furniture and clean like light fixtures. Like they said you had to like clear rooms out of all the desks, and they had real big desks in the rooms and stuff for like the classrooms. And doing group cleaning. I don't like group cleaning. I like to clean on my own. Like I like to be left alone. I don't want to like clean with a bunch of people and just be bothered. I just want to be left alone. Like that was a problem with the last job. Like even though they didn't do group cleaning, I was not left alone. I was bothered way too much, and that was the problem. So anyway, yeah, so I was just like, unless, I'm gonna have night shift, I'm gonna be left alone and I'm just gonna do regular cleaning, I don't want it. So she's like, oh, well, I apologize, there's no way I can do that. So I said, okay, that's fine, I'm cool with that. So whatever, I texted the paper I needed to text, and that was that. So the next job was cleaning a factory. They hired me right on the spot, just like the cleaning job way before this one that I walked out on, the one that I got fired from. They hired me like literally phone interview. Boom, you're hired. This one was, like I said, cleaning a factory. Horrible position. Horrible. Like, first of all, the cleaning company that was cleaning the factory, they were losing their contract. And so the workers were just doing whatever the hell they wanted to do, and they didn't care. There was like, basically people that would clock in and then leave and then come back right before it's time to clock out, stuff like that. Or they would just sit in the cafeteria and do nothing the entire time. And so it wasn't like a filthy factory. It was like the conditions were terrible. And it's like a popular factory in Michigan. They like put car parts together. A lot of people I know, even my dad has worked in the factory. My brother and my husband, I think, believe has worked there like before we were married. Just a lot of people have retired from there. I think even my next door neighbor works there. I don't know if he's retired yet, but he works there. It's crazy. A lot of people in my town work there. And the conditions are terrible. It's so hot in the factory area. Like, they have to like stay in their like little cells and just like put stuff together. Like literally I had like an aerial view because I had to like go up to clean this one part, and you can look down on the factory, and I was like, this is really sad. Like, oh my god, like I couldn't imagine. And there was like people that were retiring after 30 years, and I just couldn't imagine being there for a week. So here's the good news. At this point I knew that I was hired at the job that I currently am at. But the onboarding process took a matter of weeks, and drug tests, and it just a lot of stuff. So in the meantime, like I said, I'm broke. So I was trying to like work somewhere in the meantime because of all the weeks that I had to wait to start this new job, which is being a travel agent. So I knew that my good days were coming. It's just in the meantime I needed to work. So I took this cleaning job, and like I said, just bad conditions. It was like there was parts that were really dirty, like the cafeteria was gross. And like I said, the factory area was really hot and just miserable looking. And I met like an interesting guy. Like he was just telling me about his life and stuff. And he had like a really hard life. Then like I said, we had a lot of time to sit because workers weren't doing anything. My last day was like really sketchy. He was like, oh, we're going to go clean some office spaces. Do you want to come? Him and a bunch of other guys. And the guys weren't even like acknowledging me. Like they wouldn't even say hi or anything. And so I was like, oh, okay. And there was like one girl. So that made me feel a little better. And she was like dating one of the guys. So we walked and walked and walked. And this is a big factory. And we're just walking and walking and walking through the factory area. And then we go outside. And I'm like, okay, maybe the office space that they're like having us clean is like in another part of the building, and you have to go outside to get there. So I kept following him, Next thing we know, next thing I know, we're like going through this like gate part that's like secured off, and they take me to a car, and I was like, okay, and then everybody gets in the car except for me, and then I'm like, okay, so I just stood there for a minute, and it's nighttime, by the way. And, they're not bothering me or nothing. They just start to, like, deal with their weed. Their, yeah, they start, like, rolling up and stuff. And, the guy that was, like, training me and, like, that had, like, interesting stories and stuff, he was like, okay, well, you can do what you want to do. We're just gonna, like, stay out here for now. And I think it was time for me to go home. Like, it was, like, close to 3 o'clock. That's when I got off. It wasn't 3 o'clock yet, but it was, like, close to the time. Like, it was, like, I probably could get, like, they probably let me get off, like, an hour early. I think it was, like, 2 o'clock or 2:30 around that time. So I was like, oh, okay. And I just turned back around and went home. Went back through where I came and went home. But I was just like, what made them walk me out like that to the car? Were they trying to see if I was going to smoke weed with them? I don't know what the hell they were doing, but it was just weird that they was like, oh, we're going to go clean office spaces. And then they had me like walk outside with them and then was like, oh, you can leave now. It was weird. And I told my husband about it. He was really upset. We got in a big argument because he was like, oh, you're, in harm's way, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I ended up starting my job that I'm currently at. I started in July, and I'm happy. And is it my dream job? Is it the job that I've always dreamed of and always wanted? Kind of. It kind of is, because I always wanted to have like a job where I can be at peace and sometimes have leisure time, and it's quiet, it's clean, and I'm sitting at a desk, and I've always wanted like an office job where my like own little office space. I'm in a cubicle, but this is my own little office space. And yeah, sometimes like I watch YouTube videos, like, or listen to YouTube videos while I work, and I have an hour break, and it's the regular 9 to 5 type job. And yeah, it's the ideal dream job that a person would want. Is it my dream career that I could ever want, and like I can retire from this? I don't really want to. Like, I would prefer to like follow my dreams and do other things. Like, I want to do YouTube, and I want to like own my own business and design clothes and sell clothes and represent brands and travel the world. Like, that's what I want to do. So in conclusion, like, basically the moral of this very long story time is like, if you're in a place where, like, job wise at least, like if you're like working somewhere and you absolutely hate it, don't like quit the way I did. Like, don't walk off the job unless you're being treated like crap and you can afford to walk off, like, and it won't like affect you getting another job. Don't walk off, but like, you should quit. Like, you should definitely quit. You should, of course, have something else lined up. You should do your research. You should job search. You should go on a couple of interviews. Like, you should do, stuff like that in order to like get yourself set up. But definitely don't like stay there. Like, I've known people that like retired from really shitty, stupid jobs, like, being a grocery bagger or like a janitor at a mall. Like, I've seen people stay places like literally from when I was a child to when I became an adult. And I don't personally know if that person was miserable, but I just can't see myself doing that. Like, I'm not putting anyone down that's like, deciding to stay where they're at. Like, as long as you're okay. If you're unhappy and you feel like you're being treated badly or lied to, you should leave. Like, you should definitely like do your research and find a way to get out of there. Don't be stupid. Don't like set yourself up for failure. Don't ruin provisions for yourself. Don't put your family at risk. But like, especially if you're a young person with your whole life ahead of you, you should definitely like, like I said, do your research and find something else. Like, there's so many different job opportunities out there, and career opportunities, and business opportunities even. Like, just never just stay somewhere just because it's a job and you get a paycheck. That's what I learned from all these like crazy jobs that I've taken. I believe that I've remembered all of them enough to say in this video where I didn't leave any out. Like, I can't think of one job that I forgot. So I think I have them all. like that came to mind. And I've learned so much just from being around certain environments, and I feel like my confidence has raised because I've proven to myself that I can work somewhere that I like and I've always thought of working. Um, Younger me would have never thought it was possible because like I would read like a job description and get intimidated and like, oh nope, I can't do that. And when I first started this job that I'm at right now, I was very intimidated. Oh my god, I was so intimidated. Like I was scared. Like first of all, like I'm still not a tech savvy person, so I didn't think that it'd be possible for me to like figure out their systems and invoicing and all like the stuff that comes with doing an office job. And I was scared and I did not have anybody there to really train me. I'm the only travel agent at my job, so that is intimidating. And I had to like drive to the next town over to like sit and like learn from another travel agent, really sweet lady, in order to learn and take notes and stuff. And like all their training was like virtual, and like they don't have anyone in office that can really help you with your job. So even to this day there's things that I need help with, but I know no one there can help me. But my like confidence is so much higher, I deal with it so much better with less anxiety. So like I've learned so much, and I'm just so thankful for the journey that I've been on. And like some of it was like time wasted where I was like, Danielle, this job is beneath you. Like for example, the cleaning job, not like not the first one where I met the like crazy friend. I don't feel like that was a waste of time because I feel like I had a good time there for the time that I did. But like the two other ones after that like was just a waste of my time. Like literally like it was just so beneath me. And like the bread store job that I had, so beneath me. Like I should never even have taken that job. Not that the people there were beneath me, but just the job itself. Like that's why I ended up walking out, not realizing that I was going to even do that because I just was so unhappy. And I just radically just like, like I can't be here, I gotta walk the freak out. So yeah, that's just life, just sometimes you surprise yourself when you're unhappy. Like sometimes you surprise yourself. Even sometimes you don't even realize that you're as unhappy as you are until you like make a crazy decision and you're like, wow, what the heck was I thinking? But that's the end of this story time. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like gained something out of it. Like I'm gonna be, trying to come up with more like exciting vlogs. Lately things have been just so like at a standstill, so like I won't vlog because I'm like, what the heck? But if things are like at a standstill, I'll just find like content like this where I'm talking and you get to know me better. So yep, that's the end of this video. Please like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram. I am Cinnamon Babe, and TikTok Cinnamon Babe 94. And you guys have a great day. I hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. And next week is Valentine's Day. I'll see what the heck I'm doing for that because I don't really have anything amazing planned. But yes, have a great night. Have a great day. Love you guys. Mwah. He's asleep on the couch. Okay, bye.